A show duct taped together by broken promises and hopes and dreams. Recorded in the corner of Wade's dirty bathroom. Get ready for WMBT.
Once upon a time, weddings used to be focused on exchanging vows in a church or home between a boy and a girl with a couple of naughty drinks afterwards. And then off you went to diddle each other for a few days. They're more like this nowadays, less about love and intimacy and more about a show ready to post and flaunt for everyone to see just how deeply in love they must be based on the show production quality. Men bear most of the responsibility for this insanity because 85% of them go into debt trying to pay for them, apparently, instead of just saying no and suggesting money should be spent differently. Rich people and celebrities seem to have fooled us normal people into believing that extravagance means love, which then leads to eternal happiness. When in actuality, the rich and famous are some of the most miserable and unhappy people on the planet. In this episode, I'm going to break down the wedding basics and how much some folks are spending on their special day that could collectively feed every starving child on the planet and send Elon Musk to Mars and back again. The average wedding in America costs between $35,000 to $45,000 in 2026, with 47% of people doing it. That's down from 66% since the 80s. Men are mostly paying for it, and according to the data, 85% can't actually afford it and go into serious debt. So it seems men have become completely spineless when it comes down to the power of the vagina. So going potentially broke it is. You got a dress that costs as much as a used car and gets worn once, thousands of dollars of flowers that are already dying by the time the ceremony starts, a photographer charging $4,000 to take the same quality photos your phone can take, along with overpriced hot food served cold, and an open bar that usually ends in a fight. All finished off with enough custom signage, neon lights, and aesthetic bullshit to make a Kardashian proud. The following 3 weddings serve as an interesting case study on how to burn through money. Starting with Prince Charles and Lady Diana in 1981. They spent roughly $115 million of taxpayer money on a fairy tale wedding, watched by 750 million people, and to include 3,500 guests. Diana wore a $46,000 dress with 10,000 pearls that cost more than most people's houses. They did take the marriage seriously, though, till death do us part, even though Diana's murder, death was slightly suspect. Nothing says true love like when first cousins get married, and that's exactly what these two did in Dubai. Fun fact, it took this gentleman till the age of 15 to be able to fully learn to write his name, being that it's the length of a paragraph, but he was able to learn enough to drop an estimated $137 million on his wedding. They built a massive venue, had 20,000 guests, a camel procession, and fighter jets doing flyovers, because nothing says true love like burning money while doing barrel rolls. Now, the irony of this next one being the most expensive wedding on my list was that it was thrown by Indians in India, which, as we all know, isn't exactly the richest nation in the world. These two spent somewhere between $600 million and $1 billion. That's a small country's GDP. Of course, Rihanna and Justin Bieber performed. 700 dishes were served, and guests stayed in couture tents. Oh, and Bill Gates was there distributing a new vaccine he funded to help the local Indian population stay fit and healthy, just like he did for us during COVID. Another interesting use of a wedding budget goes into the dress. Mariah Carey had a $250,000 Valentino dress ready for her wedding to James Packer. But the wedding never happened. So she did the logical thing and set it on fire in a music video to symbolize the end of the relationship. However, she forgot to remove her $10 million engagement ring for the years that followed. But that kind of oversight could happen to anyone. Next up, Kim Kardashian's wedding to Kanye West prompted a $500,000 investment into a Givenchy gown to then be changed into a custom Balmain mini dress for the reception that was dripping in pearls. But the true champion for the most money designated for bridal fashion goes to Serena Williams. She walked down the aisle in a $3.5 million Alexander McQueen ball gown. She also had multiple outfit changes because, well, why not? When you're spending that much, you might as well treat the wedding like a fashion show with a marriage happening in the background. Weddings used to be simple and a little bit more affordable. In the 1950s and 60s, around 80% of people were married in comparison to today's 47%. However, you got married in a church or backyard, had some cake and drinks, and call it a day. The average cost was around $4,000 to $6,000 in today's money. And then social media showed up and ruined everything. Suddenly, weddings stopped being about love and became about content. Drones, $3,000 centerpieces, neon signs, perfectly curated Instagram moments. We went from celebrating a marriage to producing a high-budget show. The rich would argue it's our special day, and we can afford a spectacle for a wedding if we want one. I would argue just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you should.
Wade Martin's video thingy.
Oh, God.
Don't subscribe.
WMBT.